I will call to order the special city council meeting for today, October 30th. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Blessum.
Here.
Fuller. Here. Hayes.
Here.
Janser.
Here.
Olson. Pittner. Samuelson.
Here.
Okay, today, before we go into executive session, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so before we proceed to item number 3, I'm going to ask the city attorney to sort of give a summary quickly of where we are on the topic for today's meeting. And I think that will allow us to determine whether in fact we need to go into executive session or whether we can handle the business at hand in open session without going through that piece. So, city attorney, if you would please.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, so on May 5th, the City Council authorized staff to proceed with developing a agreement with Pathfinder Services of North Dakota to operate the Broadway Circle Complex. Just for the benefit of anyone listening, the Broadway Circle Complex consists of a commercial space, a family homeless shelter, and a 17-unit low to moderate income apartment complex that's located on South Broadway. There's also 2 tenants in the commercial space. The Lord's Cupboard Food Pantry is there, as well as Oishi Ramen, and they both pay rent to the city. So staff has worked with PSND and their attorneys to generate 2 agreements for the council's consideration. The first is a commercial lease agreement, whereby the city agrees to lease Broadway Circle to PSND for a term of 20 years with an exclusive and irrevocable option to purchase the property after completion of that initial term. The second is an operations and maintenance agreement that defines how PSND will operate and maintain Broadway Circle. If you look at the memo that's attached to this item, we've kind of broken out some of the details of the commercial lease and the O&M agreement. If you have any questions about those terms right now, we could stand to answer those at this time. And if the council wants to negotiate any of the terms of those agreement further and you want to provide negotiating instructions to the city's negotiators, that's why we put the executive session on the agenda. That's definitely not a mandatory thing that the council has to do. If the documents before you today you've reviewed and you're agreeable with the terms, you can certainly move forward with an approval. But if there is something you do want to negotiate further, we can adjourn into an executive session to provide negotiating instructions.
Okay, and city attorney, would it be fair to say that as these negotiations have progressed, the positions that the city felt needed to be attained from our point of view have been satisfied? Would that be a fair statement?
So staff's goal in this particular instance was to make sure that the city is able to recoup the city funds that were invested to complete the construction, which was approximately $1.3 million. And so as these agreements go on, the parties or PSND is going to pay rent to the city. It's going to be foregone for the first 6 months so that they can reinvest in necessary items to maintain Broadway Circle. My understanding is that's going to be a snow blower, other items to maintain the structures, because that's going to be a responsibility. So at the end of the lease, when there comes times to purchase, the city should be recouping that $1.3 million at the end of the lease term. The remaining money that was invested in that property was federal funds. So arguably weren't city funds to begin with. They were to pass through to reach the national objective for the National Resiliency Grant funds. So that's kind of the purview that staff went into these negotiations with. But it's a 20-year lease. It's a long-term lease. And it's a large complex right on Broadway. So if council feels like they want to negotiate those terms further, it certainly has the ability to do so.
One other question. I know that in the past 2 iterations of this before Pathways got involved, I think under those instances we actually transferred the property to the subrecipient, and we are not doing that in this case. Is that a fact?
That's correct. So we won't be transferring that property to Pathfinder Services of North Dakota until the end of the 20-year terms of these agreements.
Okay. With that, is there any questions from the city council members to the city attorney regarding where this matter stands? Okay, I don't see any. So then I guess I would ask, what are your wishes with respect to acting? Do you wish to go into executive session, or based on what work has been done and the negotiations that have been held, are we ready to take action on this item?
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Blessing.
Thank you. If I could, I would move that we move ahead with the contract as agreed to. I don't believe that there's a reason, in my mind at least, to further negotiate if the parties are agreeable to what we're seeing.
Okay, so that's
Second.
moved and seconded that we proceed with action on, and is that a motion to accept the agreement as presented? City Clerk.
I don't know, Steph, you can weigh in on this, but do we just want to maybe make a motion not to have item 3 and move on to the next? Because the recommendation on item 4 would be the contract approval along with the signatures necessary. Is that,
Yeah, I don't have any problem with amending that we skip over item 3 and then act on item 4.
Yeah,
If that works.
Second agrees with the friendly amendment, okay? So that is the motion. Any further discussion? Alderman Hayes?
If I understand this correct, what they're getting is they're paying $4,500 a month for 20 years, a balloon payment of approximately $230,000, interest-free. The city has to take control of the major improvements, if there's any, on the exterior structure of the building. Somewhere I thought I had read that. So they're, in essence, they're getting for $4,500 a month, and I'm assuming it's nonprofit, so it's off the tax roll. They're paying 0 interest on it, so the city will recover their $1.3 million in 20 years. That just seems like a really good deal.
Mr. Mayor,
City Finance Director.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I can expound on that a little bit. We had budgeted or allocated 1.3 million to this project. That included some contingency. We did not expend all of the 1.3 million. So the difference between what was actually spent and the 1.3 million is essentially going to be some interest over that period of time. So we will recover some interest, so to speak, over time. The discussion with the major improvements, most of that complex is brand new construction. The existing commercial space, most of that was renovated, but there are some things that potentially could be an issue in the 20 years. And I think the language in the agreement says that we would prioritize funding that may be available to assist with any of those major items on the exterior of the property. And most likely where that would come from would be through entitlement dollars, federal grant dollars as well. So we agreed that we would prioritize funding if it's available at some point in the future, but we're not necessarily obligated to that.
Alderman Fuller.
Continue.
Or Alderman Hayes, do you want to continue that? Go ahead.
Yeah, so as far as back to the one item is property taxes. It's a commercial space with the restaurant that's in there. There's a vacant one currently, and the Lord's Cupboard is probably a nonprofit, but are there property taxes attached to those commercial income properties?
Mr. Mayor, Alderman Hayes, it's my understanding that the income, those leases would make those portions of the property subject to income tax, or I'm sorry, property tax. So that would be the responsibility of the tenant because they are the ones that are benefiting from that lease at that point. With the homeless shelter, and then there's an agreement that they'll have to enter into with the low to moderate income housing that would exempt that or minimize the amount of property taxes that would be due on that.
Alderman Fuller?
Real quick for either Dave or Steph, is this lease set up as a triple net lease? Or are we responsible for some of the items under the lease? Like besides the major renovations or anything like that, we're not paying insurance or anything. They're paying all their own stuff, aren't they?
Mr. Mayor, Alderman Fuller, it's not a traditional triple net lease. We are paying the property and casualty insurance, but we will bill them for the premium. And the reason we elected to go that route was because we want to make sure that the property is insured and that we are the ones that have the insurable interest in the exterior of the property. So we will carry the insurance coverage and then bill them for the cost of that premium.
Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Continue.
Secondly, I guess the other question, with the balloon payment at the end, and again, I haven't looked at their financials, is there any concern that they wouldn't be able to come up with $230,000 at the end of the term?
Mr. Mayor, Alderman Fuller, obviously that's the crystal ball looking into the future. But that is something, I guess, worst case scenario in this situation at the end of the term. If they weren't able to make the balloon payment, then that would be a decision for the governing body at that point, how they wanted to proceed with that. Or, I guess, worst case scenario, we would end up with the property at the end of 20 years.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Blessam.
Thank you. Not necessarily a question. I just wanted to give some comments on my thought process, at least on where we're sitting right now with this project. The path the city has been through to this point has been bumpy. It's been rocky throughout. Yes, we expended a good amount of money sort of chasing after this to finish it out. But in my opinion, we were backed into a corner by the federal dollars that came down the line. And there really wasn't a lot that we could do. And I would say, being involved in the selection process for Pathfinder, I feel confident in where they're headed. I think that this lays out and gives them the best possibility of being successful, which to me is number one. That is the most important part. We need a functioning and running homeless shelter to meet the federal obligations that the city is under for 20 years. And so to me, this gives us the best opportunity. There are many places where you guys know I would have dollars first mentality, right? We're going to figure this out and we're going to maximize all of it. This is one of those cases where we need it to work first and foremost. And we need to get through the 20 years. And as the finance director just said, if we get out the back end, that's really on Pathfinder at that moment, if they're able to make that payment. If not, the property reverts and we're in a position where the city has an asset. So for me, this is the best of the possible paths that we had. And, kudos for getting it put together to the staff team.
I would add to that I received a call from a couple of the folks who are nonprofits in the homeless help area, wondering about this meeting and hoping that we are able to move forward with this, because the need for a place for some of the homeless in our community is high, and they're concerned about it. So, okay, further discussion. Okay, seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Just so we know, the motion on the table that you're voting for is to skip the executive session. Blessam?
It combines both, though, correct? The motion combines both skipping the session and moving forward with the staff recommendation.
Yeah, that's the way I had it.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just to be clear.
We're good? Okay.
Everybody's good?
Blessam?
Yes.
Fuller?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Janser?
Yes.
Samuelson?
Yes.
Motion passed 5-0.
Okay, that brings us to item number 5.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Adjourned.
Thanks, Steph.